Hi, hello. My name is Portia Michelle, and I am a business coach and client experience strategist and the creator of the Cultivated Joy Experiment. Hello and good day to you, good people. So I am here to pop in a quick little video on my 7 areas of business and explain a little bit about that for future clients, not quite clients yet, or maybe just people who are interested in different areas of business and how to plan for them in preparation for my seasonal planning workshop that I've got coming up this summer 2024 when this is recorded in a couple of weeks. And so I'm getting this video in early so that folks can get their brains wrapped around some of these pieces for planning. So whether you're coming to plan with me, or whether you're planning for your summer on your own, or you've caught this like randomly sometime in a different season and you're just looking for some opportunity to be able to plan to enjoy your business more, I'm hoping that this video helps you out a bit. So I made a slide deck. Let's see if we can get it to behave. Behave slide deck. Let's see. How do I do this? How do I do this? Oh, well, no, that's just my computer screen. That's not, oh, maybe. Hey, I think I'm sharing my screen. I hope I'm sharing my screen. So one, again, my name is Portia Michelle. I'm a business coach and client experience strategist, and I'm the creator of what we call the Cultivated Joy Experiment. The Cultivated Joy Experiment is a movement out here to answer the question, can you run a business you actually fuck with? We've got frameworks, programs, workshops, all kind of things to support us in actually fucking with our business. I have been a coach for over 10 years. I have been primarily coaching service-based business owners, consultants, and coaches for the last 5 years straight as an accountability coach, as a community designer, as a success coach, as a business coach, in a variety of capacities. And I realized that all of us out here, including me as a CEO of my business, have been running businesses in ways that we don't fuck with. There's this general malaise over how people run their businesses. And so our movement at the Cultivated Joy Experiment is out to make business more fuckwithable, to make it more enjoyable, to make it something that we do with more frequency, because I'm a real true believer that the new world that we're out here looking to create and that we're wanting to call in for ourselves, because we can see that the one currently is a bit of a dumpster fire, is sitting in the minds and the brilliance of entrepreneurs out here in the world. And one of the ways in which we create that new world that I want us all to be living in is to create businesses and programs and nonprofits and organizations that fix that. And for us to do it, we got to actually enjoy this process, right? Hence the Cultivated Joy Experiment, all right? So today, we're going to go over one of the primary frameworks for the Cultivated Joy Experiments that we call the 7 areas of business. Now, why are we talking about 7 areas of business? Because I realized over the years of kind of culminating information and sitting in front of entrepreneurs all day long, is that there really are a variety of different kind of buckets that we all kind of need to put a hat on and hold when we're thinking about our business. And if you're really going to have a business that you actually fuck with, you want to make sure that there's a plan or a structure supporting you in a variety of different areas. I've named those areas these 7 areas of business. So the 7 areas of business as we see them at the Cultivated Joy Experiment is 1, soul work, and then leadership, marketing, sales, client experience, operations, and finance. 7th area just got added because there were 6 areas before. When we added finance, we did this a couple times. Somebody said, ma'am, you're missing one. So that's kind of how we categorize all of the different little hats and things that the average business needs to be thinking about for just business success and growth in general. If you think about a company typically has a department head for each one of these areas of business. When it's just you, girl, a VA in the Zoom, you got to make a plan for being the person that puts on the hat for each of these areas. And a lot of us kind of are doing a lot of things very sporadically. And I find by putting it into a bit of a category and going, oh, this is this area. Here's the focus that I have in this area. These are the actions that I'm committed to accomplishing so that I can achieve this result in this area. It makes it much easier to be really clear about all your actions align with what's necessary, and to feel a little bit less scattered about kind of doing things all over and not necessarily feeling like you're accomplishing anything, okay? So today's goal, I'm gonna go over each area of business and just give you an idea of what this area looks like, what I mean by this area, and how you can determine success in this area, and then some of the ways that this area may be showing up for you in your business so that you can wrap your brain around it, okay? First area I'm going to jump us into is soul work. Now, why do we start with the soul? Because you tend to be necessary for your business. You could be at a place where you've already got, some folks in place where you no longer have to be the CEO. But if you are the CEO, like I'm the CEO, the soul of who you are will affect how everything else runs, how you thrive, and your ability to take care of yourself to show up to all of the things is typically the deciding factor between whether the business is successful or not. So we start with you, we start with the soul. What I mean by soul work is, what is your soul currently requiring to be fully nourished, aligned, and ready to achieve your goals, right? Currently requiring, right? Because we all know that sometimes your soul needs certain things, sometimes you need other things, right? So we want to be looking in what's required of me currently. I kind of think that success in this area can look like I'm clear on a vision for where my business fits into where my life is going, and how to manage my energy to get me there with joy, right? So again, you're going to hear me say over and over again, the goal here is to enjoy it. What you enjoy, you will do more of. And we need these businesses to thrive. So I want you to enjoy running them, okay? Things that you may consider that typically fall into the soul work category is like, what's going on to nourish your soul this season, right? Is this a season where it's summertime, we're getting ready for 2024 summer, right? Are you, in a place where you've been inside all winter and spring and you really need to get out and be with your people this summer? Do you need a vacation this summer? Is community going to be the thing that you need? Or have you been doing a lot of that in winter and spring and you actually need to kind of settle down and be in the house this summer and kind of take care of yourself? What kind of season is your soul calling for, right? Is this a season of expression and expansion? Is this a season of rest and rejuvenation? Do you know what you would need to do for yourself to provide that result that you're looking for that season? This is where all your self-care practices also tend to come in, right? Like, how are you eating, sleeping, resting, connecting, fueling yourself? What are your spiritual practices, if you have spiritual practices that align with you and keep you sorted, right? What are your morning routines and rituals that keep you aligned and sorted? You'll also see here, always, I have to check in with my CEOs, particularly my impact-driven CEOs. How are you caring for your nervous system, right? I know so many of us we're constantly as business owners learning something new, taking on some new projects, a new marketing campaign, a new funnel, a new employee, a new industry to break into, a new target audience. That newness, allows your body to always be in kind of a state of like, oh, I got to get ready to put the energy together to be able to take care of something new. How are you regulating your nervous system after that? How are you making sure that you've got a practice to process those emotions, or you've got a reading practice or a journaling practice, or again, a friend that you call up? Whatever your practice is, what is it? And are you making a plan for it as a business plan? Sip on that. I'm gonna sip on that. Are you putting yourself on your own schedule, your soul, and what it needs to thrive as a business plan, as a KPI to measure? We're so good at measuring every little other piece of the business. Are you measuring how well you take care of yourself? It's going to be super duper important to make sure that everything else runs, okay? The next area of business I want to jump into is leadership. In leadership, we're really talking about who you be, right? If we already took excellent care of ourselves, right? And we know how we thrive and we've done all the things to make sure that our care is in place, who do we have to be to show up to all of these areas correctly, right? So the statement I have here is that leadership is the beingness required to make the decisions necessary to have your goals achieved. Success can look like you're clear on your goals for your business and how you need to show up to make them happen, including the headspace you need to be in to be successful at achieving those goals. In the leadership area, you're typically going to be looking at, right, who do I need to be this season such that my goals are achieved? Leadership is also the area where you do that looking out into planning for your goals, right? Also your general business planning, right? Do you know what's happening with you seasonally, yearly? I want to tell you right now, you're doing a good job in your leadership by watching this video. At least we're starting, right? By thinking about this piece. Leadership is also where you'll find the mastery of your craft. What books are you reading? What classes are you attending? What new certifications are you getting? How are you getting better at this thing called the thing that your people come to you and you provide for them, the service that you provide for them? And also, how are you doing with your business development and your own learning? How are you getting better at learning how to run a business and what your role needs to be in the business and how you need to be thinking? What is your leadership mindset? We all have it, right? Some of us, it's easier for us to call in new opportunities. Some of us, it's not. Some of us, like me, who've lived a life with a good amount of trauma and, working to be able to navigate it, there are some things that show up as limiting beliefs in my mindset that I got to work on, right? There's some things growing up as a person that didn't have a lot of extra money that I got to look at in my money mindset if I ever expect to keep any money. Okay? Right? These are the things that we want you to be thinking about for your leadership, as well as how does your team run and what kind of boss are you? Are you the boss? What's your role in how the team runs? How best can you be developing yourself to make sure that you're showing up well for your team? And then what is your plan to continually develop your team so that they're showing up best for your business? Okay? That is leadership. Next, we go into marketing. As simple as it sounds, I call this the process of how people find out about your business. Success could look like there is a clear way that people find out about my business, and I have a clear plan on how to be in communication with people who want to work with me. That's really the crux of marketing and what I want you to be thinking through with marketing. Now, your marketing may look a variety of ways. You could be somebody that's marketing online, doing social media, that is doing speaking engagements, and people are meeting you in person. You could be someone who has a funnel, right? And it's pre-automated and there are ads going out where people find out about you. You could be someone that does most of your business word of mouth and through affiliates and things of that nature. Whatever your marketing plan is, do you know it? And are you clear with how you're moving it forward every season, every month, every year, okay? Little things that may fall under the marketing area in your business. This may be your audience growth plan. This may be your partnership and affiliate plan. For most of us in 2024, when you're hearing this, maybe and even after, social media content is a thing. Content in general is a thing. So what's your content plan? What's going out, right, for your marketing? This may also be your social media strategy. What platforms are you on? How do you talk to your people on those platforms? This may be your email strategy. You could be doing blogs or podcasts. This is also where I want you to be thinking, what support do I source for myself in my marketing? Who are my people? Do I have a social media manager? Am I in a course, to learn how better to show up on video or live stream, right? What's your strategy and how are you getting that support? And then what do you need to learn in your marketing department this season, this year, to make sure that you're ready for everything that you're wanting to grow and how marketing is going to be working in your business? I also count under the marketing bucket your conversion events and your conversion assets, right? How do people get that first little taste of you so that they know that they want to come back for more? What are those events? Is it a webinar? Is it a workshop, right? And what are those assets? These are what people call lead magnets, right? Do you have a PDF where people can get a little bit about your frameworks? Do you have a quiz? Do you have something that allows people to get a taste of what you do before they decide to make a big buying decision, okay? Next, in speaking about buying decisions, we go to the sales department. So sales, what is it? So the process of how folks purchase your products and services, as simple as that. We can get really, really complicated when we talk about all of these areas of business, and you can have a very large, robust plan, depending on the size of your business, but it can also be a super small and lean plan, depending on the size and the desire of how you want to run your business. I keep these definitions really simple because I want you to be thinking about it in layman's terms, because if you can answer the question, then we have a plan in place. And if we have a plan in place, then we have a plan that we can optimize, but you got to start by putting something in place, okay? In sales, again, this really is just about the process of how folks purchase from you and how they find out about your products and your services. Success can look like I have a clear plan and process for how to convert strangers into clients and communicate the value of what I'm selling so that they buy. You may hear in this a little bit of messaging. That's also a part of sales. How do you communicate what it is that you have to offer in a way that the people who need it actually feel like it's a value to them and they want to make a purchasing decision? Things that could fall under sales tend to be lead generation, your lead nurture. This may be sales call goals. Like, I know that I convert at 50%, so I know that I need to have this many calls come in every single week because this many people will convert into a client. Like, that plan tends to also fall under the bucket of the sales department. As well as, again, you see here, what support are you receiving in the sales department, right? Do you have a coach that you love on YouTube that you watch? Are there books that you're reading to develop yourself in getting better at sales? Are you working with a messaging expert? I'm gonna let you know, if you're not working with a messaging expert and you're not great at messaging, you should hire one. I did one this year. Best decision I ever made, because man, we're out here making the magic. I'm not always the best at being able to go, this is what we did. Man, someone said to me the other day, at a coaching event, actually yesterday at Lambda in Las Vegas. Shout out to the Lambda people. It said it's hard to see the label from inside the bottle. I said, well, that's a word. It's hard for most of us to do. I create client experiences people for a living. I need to have somebody be able to reflect that to me. Same thing with messaging. Oftentimes here, I see most of my entrepreneur folks struggle in being able to communicate the value in what it is that you do because you're too busy doing it. Get some support in there. And that may be a support that you want to call in that supports your sales department. You may be only thinking about it in terms of marketing, but man, it really affects how you communicate your value to another person so they can find themselves home in that conversation and say, oh my goodness, she totally gets it. She's the person I want to be able to solve my problem, okay? Next, same thing with learning. What are you learning about that, and how are you developing yourself in the sales department so that you can get better at it? Whether you don't have to be a super amazing salesperson if that's not your thing, right? But whatever it is, make sure that at least you're getting people to be able to buy it. Next, I want you to be thinking about your sales call process, right? So how many calls does it take with somebody before they convert into someone, right? How much rapport do you need to establish with a person? And what are your ways of establishing that rapport so that trust gets built in so that they know that you're the person that understands their problem enough to solve it, and that they want to be able to solve it with, right? Particularly my service-based businesses, so I'm talking to here. And then what's your strategy for conversion? Do you need a pitch deck? Are you somebody that does a little PowerPoint slide or a Canvas slide like I got here, right? Are you, do you have some sort of visual, or is there some process that these are the 3 things that I say that always make sure that people can see, whether it's for them or it's not. We ain't trying to force people into shit they don't need. Let me say it again. We don't try to force people into shit that they don't need. Right? We're trying to offer organic opportunities that actually will solve a person's problem, because I promise you that sells best every day. But you may have some certain ways that you communicate that on sales calls to have people go, oh shit, that is me. What is that strategy? What is your conversion strategy that gets people over the line? And when I say conversion, don't get lost in these complicated businessy ass words. Conversion, all that means is, do they make it over the line from stranger to client? And what's the strategy that you do in your sales process to make sure that they make it there, okay? All right, after sales, we're gonna talk about client experience. Now, client experience tends to be my specialty. As a business coach, I make a plan for each of these areas of business with my people, and my real joy is in helping you love it. I go, okay, let's look at each one of these areas of business. Let's see how you're running it. Okay, what's your genius in it, right? Are you an introvert? Do we need to plan for that? Are you an extrovert? Are you somebody who likes, a really busy schedule? Are you like a lot of spaciousness? Do we have a big team? Do we have a small team? I help you look at all of these areas of business and how you're working around them, and how best to be approaching them, how to get your source your support, source your learning in these areas. But if I have an area that I am a specialty in, it is this one, client experience. Now, I find when most people put their areas of business together, they skip client experience and kind of like roll it into delivery or roll it into sales. It is its own baby, and I'm going to tell you why. So, on simple terms, the client experience is just the experience of the clients once they have purchased your products and services. Again, most of the people that I work with are service-based businesses. We're talking about coaches, consultants, experts, people who provide a service. There is an experience of your product or service, whether you know it or not. It helps to plan for that. Now, what success could look like is my paid clients have a clear pathway to satisfaction from my product or service. They get what they paid for, so they keep coming back for more and referring others. they get what they paid for, so they keep coming back for more and referring others. If you've got something out there that you just like, oh, they just buy it and they got it, it's self-guided or whatever that looks like, please still keep in mind there is an experience that your client is having around that product or service. The more thought you can put into that experience, the more reliable their results, retention, renewal, and referral will be. And again, as business owners, we know that top 4 is how money ends up in the bank over and over again, okay? Now, some things that fall under your client experience is your delivery routine, right? If you've got a group program or a one-on-one or a retreat, or it's a self-guided automated course, what is the routine of how it gets delivered to them? How often do you check in on them? What's their communication like? What's their community program like? Are they seeing you once a year? Do they see you twice? What does that look like, right? Then I want you to be thinking about your hosted experiences. When you get them all together on a Zoom, what are we doing? Right? When we're showing up, to the retreat center in Bali, what are we actually doing? When they are hopping on, maybe their self-guided course and, once a year you do one big gathering of everybody together, what's happening at that hosted experience that's a part of their paid container, okay? I also want you to be thinking about asset creation. I will tell you, everyone skips this. Hear it. There is something that your people likely will need to learn to actually be able to implement your product or service. Usually you give that to them. They're like a little PDF, or maybe you have a course, or maybe you have, I do all my stuff in Notion pages to go over, right? I have portals that I put people in, right? Whatever the asset is that helps them have the best experience possible, whether it's a learning asset, whether it's a delivery asset, whether it's an onboarding or an offboarding asset, whether it's a client management asset, what needs to be created to ensure that they have the experience that you want them to have. Now, with that also comes what products maybe need to be created, right? Every once in a while, for my client to come for this exact recording is going in a planning digital workbook because I give them a product so that they can be able to do their planning in it, right? Is there something like that for you that you got to give them to actually make sure that they have a great experience? And do you know that? Have you made a plan for that? Next, we're looking at program development. There's so much here, and I'm literally doing a whole training on this, just so that you understand the difference between offers and programs. Everybody out here in these marketing streets wants to sell the offer, but it really comes down to, usually when people get the results, has to do with how the program around the offer is delivered. That's what we come back to that for, right? How do they get results? How do they get retention? Right? How do they refer you? And then how do they renew themselves if they know that they want to come back to you to continue to solve their problem, or to come back to solve additional problems that you naturally solve, that they've built a trust with you to be able to do? How your program is set up around this experience is a huge part of the client experience, particularly for my coaches and consultants that have group programs or one-on-one programs that are 3 months or more. Okay, be thinking about the development of your program. I would also say this is super duper important for people who are running 1 to 3 day intensive experiences. You're doing a retreat, you're doing a mini workshop, like a 3 workshops that make like a mini, VIP day. You really want to think about the program of how people are going to walk through it as a reflection of your client experience, okay? Next, we're moving over to operations. So operations, what is it? Operations is the systems and processes that determine how your business runs. That is probably the simplest definition of operations that could probably be had. It is oversimplified because operations really tends to be the bucket. One of the buckets, I would say operations and finance tend to be the bucket where everything else lands. How you are running and going about making sure that each one of these areas of business actually runs the day-to-day, that's all your operations. That's ops. When you hear us talk about ops, besides the op, operations is what we're talking about. Success can look like I have a clear plan for what my processes and systems are necessary to achieve my desired results, my business overall, and in each area of my business. Now, what I mean by that is oftentimes we're like, I'm about to grab in 20 new clients. Amazing. What are the systems and processes to get us there? Where do you need to be showing up every day? What do you need to be showing up every week? What are the actions that are necessary to do it? Do you have any support to be able to help you take care of those actions, right? Do you have any operating system that reminds you to do those actions, or where you can track the little tasks and the to-dos, right? The project management of actually getting those 20 clients over the door and into your business. Most of you all, again, I include myself in this because I was deficient in this. Almost, I would say 95% of the clients who are in front of me, and I have clients in front of me who have not made their first dollar in their business yet, all the way up to multiple 7 figures, are deficient in the operating department. And remember, as we're having conversations here, I want you to be thinking about the operations of how your business runs, but then I also want you to be thinking about the operations and how you run. Where do you need to show up? Who do you need to be, right, to show up there? And then what's the system, right? What are we doing, and where are we doing it? And how do we know that the actions that we're taking are actually in line to help us to achieve those results, okay? That's all operations. It's your teamwork, it's your day-to-day work. Like I said, it's your admin, your project management. When I say operational planning, right, it's what I was talking about before. What are my systems, and what do I need to have in place to have that system run successfully? Who is my support, right? Who's my person that I do this work with? If I'm the person, what's my plan? If I'm the person, can I resource myself? Are there books that I can read, YouTubes I can watch, coaches I can hire, operations people, consultants that could come in and give me some support, right? Things to think about there. And then again, you want to be thinking about that same plan for each one of these areas of business. There's a way that soul work needs to operate: leadership, marketing, sales, client experience, finance, and operations. Each have their own operations. What is those systems? And again, I want you to kind of think this through. I don't want you to make it super duper complicated in your head. It really is just the systems and the processes. It could be as simple as, my soul work system and process is that I get up in the morning, I give myself an hour in the morning to read, to take a walk, and take a nice shower to make sure I'm ready for my day. That is a system and process. It doesn't have to be a complicated system and process, but it's incredibly important that you think about the system and process. Other things that tend to also get kind of lumped in with operations are the tech back end, right? Most of us, we have a business of a certain size, we like an operating system. You may have Asana, you may have Trello for your project management, right? You may have a CRM in another place. I do all my whole business on Notion, right? That's my tech back end, my operating system. And then next, what are the automations, and do you have any, right? You may have a Zapier or some other sort of technology that connects your CRM or your email campaign software with your client management software, or maybe it's a HoneyBook that helps to connect all of those little pieces together. Do you have something in automations that will help you to be able to operate your business with more ease? And have you thought about maybe bringing some operations into your business, some automations into your operations that tend to make things a little bit easier? We do love automations because if you are somebody that has a small team, like most of the people that work in front of me do, 1 or 2 people on your team, the automations help double the hands. And if we can double the hands, we can do twice the work. So if you hadn't thought about automations yet in your operating system, definitely something to think about. If you are interested in that, hit me in the DMs. I'm happy to give you some suggestions. Okay. Lastly, we are coming to finance. She's the newest addition to the 7 areas of business, because I'm gonna be real honest with y'all, I didn't have it real good together. And so now that somebody has blessed me with this, I'm like, oh, this actually shouldn't be like a line item in operations. She needs her own area. So finance. How I am defining finance in my very limited brain of understanding, but this is how I'm defining it for you all in our businesses, is the systems and processes that determine how money flows through your business and what decisions you need to make to protect and maintain your business's financial health. If you do not know that your business has a financial health, it does. If the money is not in the bank to pay you and pay the people, the business becomes a hobby and we're stopped, right? Businesses, even impact-driven businesses, right? Because I am a person with an impact-driven business. I support people who do impact-driven businesses. We give a shit about the world, the people, and the planet, but without the profit, it becomes difficult to do that thing, okay? Success can look like for you financially, you have a clear plan for how money needs to flow in and out of your business, and you have a plan to support your financial needs right now and for the future. I think that's something that's super important, is to be thinking about, right? What are my needs right now, right? Right now needs could look like I got employees I got to pay out, I got contractors I got to pay out. There is a difference between employees and contractors. Don't be that person, right? I need to invest in a new operating system, or I'm wanting to build a video course with somebody and I need that money, right? That's maybe a right now need. But I also want you to think about long-term planning. How am I getting a return on that investment? One, right? What is my taxes going to look like at the end of the year? You in the state of, the state of California, Lord, state of California, or the United States of America, we're paying all the taxes. So what is your tax plan? Because Uncle Sam is going to call. Do you have a plan for that, right? Long-term visioning. Also, what's your wealth portfolio going to look like, and how does your business fit into that wealth portfolio? What other multiple streams of income could you be considering? And what is your plan for what that income is going to do? And then what is your plan operationally for where that money needs to trickle to make sure that everything's getting paid off correctly? These are all things that tend to fall under finance. I would also say your business filings, should you be an LLC or an S Corp, that kind of thing tends to fall under financing. Taxes, wealth management, right? How you work your partner payouts, right? If you pay somebody 10% every time they send somebody to you, where's that process? How does that work? How do your contracts work, right? When somebody pays on time, what does that look like? If they don't, do you have a plan for that? General money management. I cannot tell you the amount of people where everybody on the internet's like, here's how you're gonna make all this money. I'm gonna tell you how to make a 6 figures in your business. Can we talk about how to keep 6 figures, girl? Finance, important. What software and tech that you have. Also, this is like your bank relationships. I didn't know you needed a relationship with your bank. Again, I got an accountant. Praise the Lord. These are things you should know. Same thing about payment processing. I didn't know that there was a variety of different payment processes that I could go through, and there were benefits to each. Getting an accountant and getting some financial support was really the thing that helped me to be able to see that. So one of the things I would also ask you to plan for in your financial area is, where am I learning, right? What am I learning this year, this season, about finance in my business? And what does my support look like? For most of us, this is not our skill set. Get the CPA, girl. Get an accountant. Get somebody that you love that can financially advise you. At the very least, go get the Budgetnista book. The Budgetnista has like a real cute. Hopefully, by the time you listen to this, it's still in place. Like a real cute, very low priced monthly like database of financial trainings. Start there, right? That's where I started, because I was not somebody who was super confident in the financial area of my business. And then I made some money and had to get myself right because the tax man came. And I said, oh, okay, we're going to do the thing. We're going to make sure that our stuff is in place. And again, for the health of your business and the longevity of your business, there is one element where you really want you to enjoy it, because that joy is going to add to the sustainability of your business. You're going to want to do it for the long term, but it also has to financially have legs and make sense so that it can survive for the long term. These both spiritual and emotional and tangible tactical concepts are necessary to keep in balance, to have a good impact-driven business that feeds you, feeds the people, and make sure that it can continue to be able to do that for a long amount of time. Okay. So that's it. Them is the 7 areas. I'm so, again, happy to be able to have brought this to you all. My little Fathom is there catching all of the recordings. So this will be a nice little recap that I will pop in the description for you guys. These areas of business I talk about and work through all the time. So I do a seasonal planning workshop every season with all of my clients, where we look at each one of these areas of business and make a plan for the season. I would invite you to do that for yourself every season. I would also invite you to do that for yourself every year, right? And also season, if you're somebody who goes by quarters instead of seasons, I go by seasons, but you can do this every quarter and every year, right? What are each of these areas of my business asking for from me this year and this season? What is my plan for each of these areas of business, right? And, some thoughts about kind of how much energy do I need to put into it versus putting into other areas. But I'll have another video coming at you to talk about my seasonal planning process, where you really will see these areas of business in action. Thanks again for being with me. I'm excited to get a little YouTube on the YouTubes. I don't know how you end the YouTube, but this is it. Thanks again, and see you guys soon. Oh, wait, I should just stop recording. Stop. And